Hey guys, welcome back to another one of my videos. If you happen to be watching this for the very first time, I'm a wellness blogger who created a guided wellness journal to track the 5 most essential healthy habits that will bring you the most joy. Outside of the One Ray Journal, today we're going to be diving into journaling for both personal growth and mental clarity. I certainly don't claim to be an expert on anything, but journaling is something that I put a lot of time and energy into day after day. So today I'm just going to share with you what has worked for me thus far and helps me sleep a little bit better at night. So let's get started. So the first things first is this is the current journal that I'm using. It says Dream Big, and I do like to put a little bit of detail into the kind of journal that I use because I want it to inspire me to write inside of it. Truthfully, you could use a Post-it note, you could do a piece of notebook paper, whatever works best for you. This is just mine. I'm probably about halfway through the actual journal. And today I'm going to share with you the things that I write down inside of it for mental clarity, and this goes without saying, I am not perfect. So sometimes I get off track and I need to go back, and as cringeworthy as it is, I rewatch my videos to remind myself exactly how I do the journaling when I'm at my best. So I'm making these videos just as much to take my own advice as much as for you. You can certainly make this your own if there's something else that works better for you to add into it, but this is just sort of the meat and potatoes of how to journal both for mental clarity and personal growth. Before we begin, make sure you have something to write on and something to write with, and you can definitely use the Notes app on your electronic device. I just feel better when I actually write it with my hand because I'm more likely to stick to it and I'm more likely to remember to follow through with it. I wrote down the first 3 things we're going to be diving into, which are the main parts of today, and that is productivity, goal setting, and ideas. Those are the 3 things that I stick to. I keep it very simple, very basic. I'm sorry if you came here for something fancy. This is just very much stripped to the point, easy to follow through with. This is exactly what I do to keep my head on straight. I work 2 jobs. Currently, I'm laid off from my physical therapy job as I'm filming this, so I'm really focusing on my business all day, every day, and so I need some sort of organization to keep myself on track. I imagine those of you who have kids, those of you who have crazy careers, or I don't know, if you've got a lot on your plate and you need something to just like drain all of your energy into. Diving into the first section is productivity. And I do have a full video, it will be linked somewhere up here, called My Top Productivity Hacks, because I believe so much into the productivity standard. It's so easy to believe that we're actually doing work when we're really just BSing around, spinning our wheels, getting nothing accomplished, but it feels like a lot of energy is drained. So I believe heavily in keeping track in some sort of way of your productivity whenever you're working. And I am going to write these down as I'm talking so that I can remember them, and I suggest you do the same. Under productivity, we're going to write one of 2 ways. You can either do this writing down your to-do list in the morning and then going through after you do each item and crossing them off with a highlighter, or you can audit yourself and write each to-do list item down after you complete them. So one of 2 ways, you want to just keep track. I like the first way because it helps you to figure out where you're going, like gives you a plan for the day, and typically I don't give myself more than a few things to accomplish throughout the day, or else I'll get overwhelmed. And I think that's where most people go wrong, is they put too much down and then they're like, oh my god, I can't do any of this, and so it becomes very messy and very confusing and none of it gets accomplished. So treat yourself kindly and write 3 things down, 3 things that are the very low barrier of entry for you to do them. The next piece of journaling for personal growth and mental clarity is to establish goals. I like to check in very often to make sure I'm on track. I do not set goals the stereotypical way. I don't really put a time limit on them, and I loosely apply numbers because I know that if I reach for X amount of customers, dollars, followers, whatever it might be, I'm probably going to hit below that, knowing that up front. So I don't get my hopes up when I don't hit the actual goal, because I know I'm gonna fall somewhere in between there as I'm working on the productivity to do what I need to do every day to grow. Whether that be health for you, whether that be career, whether that be family, whatever it might be, the same principles apply. So for the sake of keeping it simple today, I will show you how I do these monthly and weekly. Business-wise, the way that I handle my goal setting is I look at the past 2 to 3 months and I look at, okay, what are we on track to hit? What is something that is both a little scary and realistic? I assume reaching for health goals is the same thing. If you're trying to eat more plant-based, you don't want to set a standard for yourself that you'll be 100% plant-based in 2 months if you're just starting. There's always room for flexibility and growth, and you do have to keep in mind that when you're setting and achieving goals, it's going to be a slope that sort of looks like this. There's going to be plateaus along the way, and it doesn't mean that you're giving up hope, that you're a lost cause, but you do have to keep that in mind because that's totally normal. I will set one category for the month goal. Work on eating more plant-based, work on making exercise a more regular part of my routine. And then with that overarching umbrella of a monthly goal, I'll break it up into 4 or 5 weekly goals, however many weeks there are in a month, that month. I'll break that up into 4 or 5 categories of subtle things to work on to get me to that overarching monthly goal. Typically my goals in terms of health, because I feel that that's more relatable for you, is to eat out only 2 times a week, because sometimes I forget that I ate out Monday and Tuesday and now I'm going out Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and my body doesn't feel good when I eat out quite that often. Or I'll do adding a vegetable with every meal, because that's something I slip up on often. That's my weekly goal for the overarching month goal. So the month goal might be to eat more plant-based, and then week to week, I'll break that up into chunks and say, I'm gonna add a vegetable with every meal. I'm going to not eat meat on Mondays if that's something you're working on. You make your to-do list for the day of things that fall in line with the weekly goal, which will fall in line with the monthly goal. And the third component of journaling for personal growth and mental clarity is I write down every single idea I have. Okay, maybe not every single one, but like many of them. I'm a very creative person. I come up with like 20 to 30 ideas at least every day. And the brain is not meant to actually store information. It's meant to come up with new information, and then it's on you to put it somewhere. I don't remember many things at all, so I have to write them down or else I'll forget. My boyfriend and I like to say we like to let ideas marinate for a few months in our brain just to like see where it goes and see if it clicks anywhere, and sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. Typically I'll write down ideas and I'll frequently go back and look at them and see which ones click a little bit better. We started creating the One Ray Journal in October of 2018, but the idea was actually formed in December of 2017, which is quite funny because it's something that took at least a year to get rolling on once the buttons kind of clicked in my brain. So that's what I mean about letting ideas marinate and then coming back to them. There's not many things worse than when you think of something really cool at night and then you wake up in the morning and you're like, what the heck was that idea? And that, my friends, is why we write everything down. Again, you can use the Notes app on your phone, as I know many people prefer that, but as somebody who works on a screen all day, it's very refreshing to me to hold something in my hand. And I'm the same way about books. I do read on my iPad pretty frequently, but I like to hold a book. I like the sound of the page turning. I like a coffee in my hand when I'm reading. I'm very much so a person of routines in that way. This notebook goes with me pretty much everywhere, and it hosts a whole lot of things. And you can even see on 5/20, I had my to-do list, my main goals, and things that I learned from a video that I watched / ideas. I pretty much stick to this exact same formula every single day because it works. And occasionally, maybe every 2 to 3 weeks, I will get off track. I will stop using the journal and then I'll have to go back. And I literally have what I'm telling you today written down because of how often I fall off track. And that master copy just helps me to jump right back on. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you can get more awesome content from us. And I appreciate your time in watching. Have a great week.